November 3rd, 2024 officially marked 70 years since the debut of the Godzilla franchise, with 1954's Gojira being the first entry of the franchise, which was released on November 3rd, 1954. The film would introduce the iconic fictional monster that we all know and love, transcending into more than just a mere character in the eyes of fans. The kaiju has evolved into a symbol embodying rich historical, social, and cultural significance, spanning almost 40 films. The 70th anniversary of Godzilla is such a milestone for the character because it shows the lasting impact and staying power of the character over the decades. Something that both Toho and Legendary understand, as Godzilla's influence can be felt on the kaiju genre, film, popular culture, and history in general. Fans worldwide have joined the celebration by responding with great enthusiasm, sharing their own tribute videos on YouTube and social media to commemorate the anniversary in response to the video Godzilla 70 Years Strong, posted on the channel Godzilla Official by Toho. The video is a fantastic watch, beautifully accompanied by great narration that shows the evolution of the Godzilla franchise, as well as a seamlessly edited montage that shows the transition between various different versions of Godzilla, from its humble beginnings in 1954 to its current day relevance through Legendary's MonsterVerse and Toho's recent Godzilla Minus One, which has already become a fan favorite in Toho's catalog, praised for both its commercial success and critical acclaim. In addition to that, Godzilla Minus One would become the first Godzilla film and arguably the first kaiju film to be an Oscar-winning Academy Award-nominated film for Best Director and Best Visual Effects, which is a huge deal for Godzilla, because Godzilla is almost not taken seriously by the Oscars in both Toho or Legendary, but Godzilla Minus One has shown that, yes, a Japanese-produced Godzilla film can be an Oscar-winning film. What makes the 70th anniversary so important for Godzilla fans is that the anniversary marks a new chapter. The franchise is exploring fresh new directions and pushing boundaries to keep the character fresh and new, and yet it retains the familiar elements that have made Godzilla an endearing character across the generations. Godzilla's legacy is rather complex and multifaceted. The character has taken on different roles, from being a hero, a villain, and a neutral force of nature. Through decades of evolving portrayals, whether through suitmation, CGI, motion capture, animation, anime, and even practical effects, Godzilla has come to embody different philosophical interpretations, each reflecting a unique perspective on the world. This dynamic versatility has helped to maintain the legendary kaiju's lasting appeal, allowing the character to outlast many other film franchises in terms of longevity. With 70 years comes a rich diversity of films, characters, varied stories, complex lore, shifting tones, diverse styles, various degrees of quality, and interpretations that have come and gone, making Godzilla relevant no matter the era. This is largely because the character's origins are rooted in historical trauma. Gojira was a direct response to the atomic bomb, a weapon of mass destruction that serves as the real-world parallel to Godzilla's destructive power, a weapon of such unprecedented magnitude, created by the science and hoping to split the atom, which was done to counter an existential threat, while humanity has since lived under the shadow of nuclear annihilation for nearly 80 years. This can be attributed to historical figures like nuclear physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, a key figure in the development of the atomic bomb during World War II, which only deepens the appeal of Godzilla and kaiju in general. Oppenheimer's complex legacy mirrors the same paradox of wonder and fear that makes kaiju so appealing and compelling with audiences worldwide. Japan experienced the horror of nuclear warfare firsthand, with the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6th and 9th of 1945, respectively. These tragic events would reshape the landscape of Japan and the world forever, leaving an indelible mark on its culture. These experiences remained fresh in the minds of those who experienced them, which would plant the seeds leading to the creation of Godzilla. Among other influences grounded in history, science, popular culture, and philosophy, Godzilla serves as a way to remind the world that this power is a double-edged sword. It reflects the complexities of human existence. It is our capacity for both creation and destruction, good and evil, order and chaos, illustrating how power can lead to this devastation or serve a greater good. This is precisely what Godzilla embodies. In the decades following the release of the 1954 film, Godzilla would evolve beyond just an allegory for nuclear devastation. The kaiju would transform into a multifaceted character that changes and adapts and evolves to suit the audience expectations, becoming a cultural icon in the process. From 1955 to 1975, the Showa era portrayed Godzilla in various ways, mirroring Japan's complex relationship with the King of the Monsters, as the country recovered during the post-war era. The Showa era depicted Godzilla in the following: a force of nature, a campy superhero fighting alien threats like King Ghidorah and Gigan, rival monsters such as King Kong, Anguirus, Rodan, and Mothra, and science-based menaces like Mechagodzilla. In this era, Godzilla also took on the role of a father figure, as seen in Son of Godzilla 1967, when he fathered Manila. He emerges as an environmental protector in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, 1971, facing off against Hedorah, the kaiju embodiment of smog and pollution, to even teaming up with other beloved tokusatsu-based media like Zone Fighter from the Ultraman-inspired series that debuted in the late 60s, early 70s. The Heisei era, spanning from the 1980s and 1990s, took a dramatic shift with films like The Return of Godzilla, 1984, which reinstalled Godzilla's roots of being a menace to humankind, set within the backdrop of the Cold War, reflecting the geopolitical tensions of the 1980s. The rest of the era more or less showed Godzilla as a neutral force of nature, consistently putting him against a diverse range of threats. From time-traveling enemies, mechanical doppelgangers, alien invaders, and apocalyptic world-ending threats in the form of Destroya in Godzilla vs. Destroya 1995. Essentially, this era served as a modern iteration of the Showa period, merging established themes with fresh ideas to reflect the changing political landscape of Japan as the 21st century approached, while Japan was still in its Heisei period. Toho would be at it again with the Millennium Era, following the less than stellar reaction of the 1998 Roland Emmerich Godzilla film, seeking to reclaim the franchise's legacy. While it remained popular among dedicated Godzilla fans, the Millennium Era struggled to resonate with the general Japanese audience, who were drawn to other local Japanese productions in the 2000s. A significant factor in this challenge was the Millennium Era's fragmented and non-linear approach, with each film retconning the last to retroactively fit its own continuity. Compare this to the previous eras, which followed a more cohesive plan, while the Millennium Era had to either reintroduce familiar characters or create new concepts in response to dwindling box office returns, which in Japan is called yen, that's the Japanese currency. Despite these challenges, this didn't stop Godzilla from being a pop culture icon in the 2000s, as the franchise would stay strong for another 5 years, reflecting the evolving landscape of the film industry and responding to significant real-world events, including the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. 2004 marked the 50th anniversary of the Godzilla franchise, culminating with the release of the last film in the Millennium series, Godzilla Final Wars. While the film remains divisive among Godzilla fans, it stands out as a significant entry in the franchise. The film marked the last time Toho would utilize the iconic character, deciding to go all out by bringing back a lot of familiar kaiju from Toho's catalog, all in one movie. Following the film's release, Toho announced that Godzilla would go on a temporary retirement that would last for 10 years into the future. This gave way for America to have a second chance with the character in the following decade. The year was 2012. A mysterious teaser trailer premiered at San Diego Comic-Con, which showed a destroyed city, a dead kaiju corpse, and a silhouette of Godzilla roaring. It was all accompanied by a dreary, haunting, almost horror-like tone, with the narration of J. Robert Oppenheimer's famous line, "Now I've become death, the destroyer of worlds." This marked the first time in over a decade that a new American Godzilla film was in the works. This time, the director, cast, and crew approached the film with a far more serious commitment. Toho collaborated closely to ensure this version of Godzilla maintained a blend of faithfulness and an up-to-date modern feel that brought Godzilla closer to home. The anticipation for Godzilla 2014 was high, similar to the buzz surrounding Cloverfield 2008 and its found-footage ARG campaign's marketing style. Fans eagerly awaited for the release of the first American Godzilla film since the infamous 1998 film, as well as the first film in the franchise since Final Wars. This film promised a darker tone, a globe-trotting scope, a star-studded cast, and a visionary filmmaker, all supported by a marketing campaign that made it stand out among the year's major releases. When the film hit theaters in the spring of 2014, it garnered positive critical reviews, but elicited a more divisive fan reaction. Criticisms were aimed at the lackluster human characters, the pacing issues, and most controversially, the limited screen time of Godzilla. This didn't stop the film, however, released for the 60th anniversary of the franchise, from breaking box office numbers, becoming the first Godzilla film to gross over $500 million and ushering in a new era in the franchise. Meanwhile, Toho was busy with something up their sleeves with the next major entry. They enlisted the talented duo behind the acclaimed anime, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and the live-action Attack on Titan films, as they meticulously planned and executed the next big entry of the franchise. That new entry was Shin Godzilla, which marked the beginning of the Reiwa era and would become a significant hit for Japanese audiences. Godzilla in this film was horrifying, a macabre, monstrous, Pokemon-like beast that continuously evolved, changing forms while exhibiting an unstoppable ferocity, despite the Japanese government's desperate attempts to stop it. This iteration of Godzilla became both a fan favorite and a divisive one, as fans were split on this version of Godzilla being so different, while others appreciating its blend of distinct and traditional elements. Both Shin Godzilla and Godzilla 2014 earned respect, but still elicited polarizing responses among fans. Nonetheless, they would become runaway success in their respective markets, leading to some interesting new additions for the American and Japanese line of films that would further shape Godzilla's ongoing legacy, as Toho signed a deal with Legendary to make sure that their filmography does not conflate with Legendary's filmography, which is why Toho had to wait for an additional 4 or 5 years to release another live-action Godzilla film. This leads us to the next line of Godzilla films that would become rather divisive and memorable in its own right. Toho, in collaboration with the anime studio Polygon Pictures, produced a trilogy of anime films from 2017 to 2019, with films including Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, and Godzilla the Planet Eater. The anime trilogy received criticism from Godzilla fans mainly due to their deviance and radical reinterpretations. This has sparked debates on whether such deviations, even originating from the creators of Godzilla, can stray too far from the character's essence. Discussions also arose regarding the motivations of the main character, the animation style, the world building, and the deeper themes underlying the trilogy. Overall, it remains a rather strange and experimental take on the character that didn't sit well with many Godzilla fans. The franchise would continue to flourish with new installments from both Legendary and Toho as the 65th anniversary approached. The year was 2019. The series celebrated its 65th anniversary with the release of Godzilla King of the Monsters, which opened with a rather lukewarm box office reception. The reviews from critics were extremely negative, yet garnered positive reception from the fanbase, as the film continued to ignite discussions and debates on the film's strengths and weaknesses, much like 2014 Godzilla from 5 years before. The 2020s brought exciting new developments, including the release of 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, the long-awaited rematch between Godzilla and Kong, a new anime titled Godzilla Singular Point, as well as various tie-in media, such as video games, the first live-action Godzilla series titled Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which debuted on Apple TV+, to mostly positive reactions, all continuing to expand the franchise as it reached a bigger audience beyond just the Godzilla fandom. This leads us to the latest entries, Toho's critically acclaimed and commercially successful Godzilla Minus One, which became the first Godzilla film to win multiple Oscar nominations, including Best Visual Effects and Best Director, and the MonsterVerse Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire, which also achieved commercial success and received mixed to positive reviews, continuing the MonsterVerse saga. If we took the time to reflect on the franchise's body of work over the last 10 years, it is very clear that the franchise continues to have staying power. With various degrees of successes and a loyal fanbase showing a passionate dedication and commitment, it has kept the spirit of the franchise alive and well. There's clearly a place for Godzilla and Kaiju cinema to join the discussion that Godzilla and Kaiju are indeed worthy of being called cinema, even amidst the dominance of other franchises. The 70th anniversary of Godzilla is not just a celebration of the original film released in 1954, it honors 70 years of movies, shows, animated series, anime, video games, pop culture influence, and the influence or inspiration it has sparked in other films thanks to the heart and passion seeped into these movies that has made each of us fans, or at least interested in some form or another. In many ways, the legacy of Godzilla is intricately tied to the legacy of the atomic bomb. Whether we like it or not, it is our responsibility to handle this topic with the respect it deserves, for Godzilla, like the atomic bomb, serves as a stark reminder of the monstrous side of humanity, life, and the universe. It's a power found in both fiction and real life that cannot be trifled with, urging us to consider how we can use this power for the betterment of fans and non-fans alike, really humankind at large. It will be interesting to see where the Godzilla franchise will go from here, but already there's a bright future ahead that shows the character can be taken into many directions, interpretations, and creative liberties. This opens the door to delve into the complex relationships we have with nature, the universe, and just who we are as a species, because Godzilla serves as a bizarre yet captivating prism through which we can examine these profound philosophical themes. On top of that, the 70th anniversary of the Godzilla franchise invites us to reflect on more than just how we feel about the movies, which iteration of Godzilla is our favorite, which era is the best, whether suitmation or CGI is better, or what being a true fan is. More important than that, it asks the fundamental question of what Godzilla means to us personally. How has Godzilla helped shape our lives, experiences, influences, and fueled our fascination with film, pop culture, science, history, and myriad topics that surround the iconic kaiju's rich and complex history? The 70th anniversary is important because Godzilla matters, and he will always matter. Godzilla is the most iconic kaiju and giant monster in history, and rightfully deserving of the title King of the Monsters because both Japan and America understand its staying power. It is the power to inspire, create, destroy, spark conversations, and being terrified or in awe of just how such a character speaks to us on a very real level. We should be thankful on how far the franchise has come, and I couldn't be more thankful towards the filmmakers, cast, crew, the fans, and everyone in both Japan and America who have contributed to creating such a wonderful franchise. It's full of incredible films, rich history, deep cultural roots, complex legacies, behind-the-scenes inspirations, and the power that has shaped many of our childhood love of Godzilla, as well as igniting our love for kaiju, dinosaurs, prehistory, science, spirituality, mythology, pop culture, movies, storytelling, and just culture in general. This is simply someone sharing their love and appreciation for the Godzilla character and the franchise in general. You can expect more videos covering topics on Godzilla, Jurassic Park, King Kong, horror, dinosaurs, prehistory, as well as movies, TV, popular culture, paranormal, mysteries, and just topics that I'm really passionate about. Happy 70th anniversary, G fans. Long live the King. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the 70th anniversary of the Godzilla franchise and how it has influenced your journey as a G fan. This is Sorian Studios 1207, signing off.